Hi, I'm Dr. Mickey Barber with Better Life Carolinas. I am getting ready to leave for Miami to speak at a meeting of the Age Management Medical Group. I've been a member of that organization for, about 12 years, and go twice a year to see what's the newest, latest, greatest. And as part of my lecturing, of course, I go through and read all the literature that I need to really present interesting things to the physicians and practitioners in the audience. And every time I'm preparing for the lectures, I think, God, I really need to mention that to my patients, So I wanted to bring up something that is hugely important and people don't talk about much, and that is a particular hormone called DHEA, which is a very long word for a hormone that is made in the adrenal gland. So it's dihydroepiandrosterone, so DHEA. That hormone that is made in the adrenal gland is hugely important during our youth and particularly during the aging process. And what we've learned is that DHEA is actually the hormone that goes through the greatest decline as we age. And what does it do for us? Well, lots of things, and I think we underappreciate it. So first of all, you need to have it measured, okay, very important. So we don't want to prescribe any hormone without measuring your level and make sure you need it. So a question would be, what is a quote-unquote normal level? Well, in my opinion, for a woman, that level should be somewhere between about 120 to 150. And for men, somewhere between 350 and 550, so in the 400 range. So that's a really important measurement, and that would be looking at DHEAS, so sulfated DHEA in the blood. So once we have that number, why do we need it? What does it do for us? Well, one of the big things is it's really important for brain function. There were many studies looking at low DHEA and the correlation with midlife depression. And in fact, treating midlife depression by giving DHEA in patients that were low. So really important for mood. The hippocampus, which is the center of memory in our brain, is very dependent on the ratio of cortisol, which is our stress hormone, and DHEA. And so as our cortisol goes up, which for a lot of us during the aging process, that is a challenge if we're not doing anything about it, that we have more stressors, family stress, money stress, job stress, whatever. So that's going up. And at the same time, our DHEA is coming down because we're getting older. Well, that change in that ratio affects our hippocampus, causes it to shrink, and so then we start to see memory problems. So there is an association with high cortisol, for sure, and memory loss, but also with low DHEA and changes in cognition, early dementia, Alzheimer's, so very important for that. What else does DHEA do? Well, it supports our bone. So both men and women get osteopenia, bone loss, or osteoporosis, fragile bone. So hugely important, and we need to maintain that so we don't put ourselves at risk for fracture and breaking bones when we're doing anything from, just stepping off a step weird or some physical or athletic activity. So important for that. Very important for health of our cardiovascular system. Now, heart disease is still the leading cause of death in this country, in spite of so many people being on statin medications like Lipitor and others. There was a very large study called the Massachusetts Male Study that looked at risk factors for different diseases and overall mortality. Really interesting. Men in that study, and it was, a couple thousand men that had the lowest DHEA, so they were in the lowest 25% when they measured their DHEA, had an increased risk of cardiovascular disease of up to 60%. So it seems to be extremely important, not just on how well your heart is beating, but on the lining of our arteries, and that's the endothelial layer, which is hugely important. So for cardiovascular disease is also really important. There also is an association with low DHEA and a higher incidence of type 2 diabetes. So important there as well. And I can tell you my mom, who did live to be 93, she was on DHEA for probably the last 10 or 15 years of her life. And she would tell me if she ran out, she'd say, you know, that little capsule, I need that back because I'm sharper when I'm taking that. So we know that it does some things with the brain that are hugely important. Now, where do you get DHEA? Well, please do not go out and just buy it over the counter. So it used to require a prescription, and we treat it like it does here in our office. The reason is because I have seen patients that have bought a bottle from Costco or wherever, and we monitor their levels. And where they were taking a small dose, like 25 milligrams, the level that we got in the blood work was astronomical, 2,000, for example. So it's not very well controlled because it no longer requires a prescription. So make sure that you're getting DHEA that's compounded. We do compounded here, but there are other great compounders that we work with. So you know that DHEA has in it what you're supposed to be taking. So I was just thinking about DHEA when I was putting my lecture together, because it is one of the points that I talk about, and the many functions that it has in the body. I just covered a couple here. One other one I want to bring in real quick, definitely improves libido. I mean, it's part of our supplementation for improving libido. And part of the reason for that is that it helps to make other hormones that we have in our body. So very, very important. I think it's overlooked. I think sometimes I overlook it, but it was part of my preparation for the lectures that I'm going to be giving in Miami. So I wanted to share it with you. If you'd like to know more about DHEA and other things that we do here at Better Life Carolinas, please give us a call at 843-577-8484 or go on our website, www.betterlifecarolinas.com, and you can register on there and someone will reach out to you. So thanks so much for listening, and we will be back. I'll let you know how Miami is.